Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to episode 199 of the By That Weekly Wrestling Podcast. You can check us out every single Wednesday night. We are on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube, and most other podcast platforms. And we also have a giveaway because next week we got ourselves episode 200. For 200 episodes, we have been able to gather the Bike Club, all of this awesome wrestling community, to talk about wrestling. Whether we are happy with what's happening with the WWE or not, you guys are part of this conversation, and you truly do make this awesome for us. So, if you drop an honest review on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher and send us any kind of validation that that was you, you can be entered to win a $25 Amazon gift card, and the winner will be announced on next week's edition of the podcast. You can also support us directly by going over to buythat.com and drop a donation, or simply go over to patreon.com/buythat. For supporting us, you get access to a ton of perks that we will be going on detail about awesome things next week on episode 200. So my name is Juan Velez. I am from San Juan, Puerto Rico, and joining me, we got ourselves Keith Poshik from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, and Ryan McNulty from Boston, Massachusetts. So guys, we're going to be talking about plenty of ladders tonight, but above everything else, you doing okay?
Doing great.
You know, it just hit me. This is 199.
Yeah.
That means 200's next week.
It is next week, man. I'm
a big
afraid.
one.
That's insane. We've almost done 200 of these.
We have sat down for at least 200 times to talk about Raw. And a lot of those.
Put that into perspective
I don't know how
for
to
a
feel
second.
about that.
Like, we have spent at least, like, let's say the average episode is about an hour 10, hour 20. So we have easily spent over 250 hours talking into a microphone about our thoughts on the WWE. That's a lot to take in.
The scary question. This is the scary question. How much of that has been, why did this happen? Could this have been done better? I get the feeling like at least 80%.
175 of them.
Yeah, quite a few of it. I remember when the show first started, we were like, oh man, this show's been so good, there's almost nothing to complain about. That didn't last very long. But at least we got to start as a more positive show. But one thing that is very positive is those who support us on Patreon. So we want to give a quick shout out to Peter D, Barney Johnson, Liam Vincent, and Tony Myers. Thank you guys so much for supporting us.
Yeah, folks, and you can also...
I love how smooth you are with that. I'm sorry. It's so good. It makes me happy every single week.
And folks, remember that you can get yourself a 30-day free trial of Audible and an audiobook. All you got to do is go to audibletrial.com/bythat so you can get yourself a wrestling audiobook. I'm actually still contemplating what to get. I mentioned the Hardcore Holly one like about 2 weeks ago. So if you guys think I should listen to that, I shall. And then I'll give my thoughts about it on the show. So before we talk about the Raw and SmackDown live polls, this has been confirmed. John Cena's coming back July 4th, celebrating America. Now, what was a little bit different was that it wasn't SmackDown superstar John Cena. It was free agent John Cena. Now I'm just going to throw out there. You know, Roman Reigns is going to be making some announcements pretty soon about
Sounds
SummerSlam.
like somebody's needed on Raw.
How do you guys feel about this? It just seems odd that they did the superstar shakeup. We've had the draft. So there's all these opportunities as a way to legitimize, right? Like what a draft is. But then out of nowhere, no references. John Cena's a free agent. How did this come to be?
It's pathetic. It's
really?
Straight up. I find this straight up pathetic because essentially...
Strong word.
Yeah, it's pathetic to me because... this is their reaction to low ratings, right? They're going to the well. They're going to that John Cena well that they love so much because they can't find success with the stars they have because for whatever reason, they don't know how to make interesting stories. And John Cena is the only one who can move the needle, apparently. And it's sad. They have one of the most talented rosters ever. Raw is jam-packed with talent, and ratings are dipping, so they're going to the well to get John Cena. And it's sad. It's sad that you have that many people on your roster and you can't get people to watch the show.
Yeah, I mean, you have a very good point there. I won't deny you of that, but after my initial kind of chuckle to myself, like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess John Cena's needed on Raw, I was actually really into the idea of him moving over, because where John Cena would fit on SmackDown, there wasn't really that much shakeup. Like, if he were to come back, he would probably feud with somebody like Kevin Owens, or being the whole face of America, or maybe Randy Orton, or maybe AJ Styles again. The only really new possibility would be somebody like Nakamura. But on Raw, you have all of these different possibilities that open up. Like, yeah, he might end up feuding with like Seth Rollins again, or somebody like that, but he fits well into this whole Roman Reigns need to go through the entire roster tour 2017, where he could end up doing something with Roman and helping build Roman up for a time. It's
they could have done
like
a cross-brand thing. I mean, I think with the whole idea.
But why? What does that solve? If it, like, just put him on Raw.
Well, the thing is, he's a free agent, and the idea is that this is going to be sort of like Undertaker rules, where he can actually go between the two shows as he pleases, because just the John Cena factor, he can do whatever he wants now. I think that's why they're not saying, oh, he's being traded to Raw or whatever. They're saying free agent as in, because he's starting out on SmackDown. And I think the idea is he can just float between the two shows however he pleases.
I think he has to start on SmackDown, just because of Kevin Owens has forced him to start on SmackDown with him coming back on the 4th of July. But I think after that, he goes directly to Raw. Plus, you know, it's kind of nice in the way that there is a much larger chance for John Cena to win a title on SmackDown than there is on Raw. Because when you put John Cena on Raw, it's kind of hard to see him winning the Universal title. Maybe the Intercontinental Championship if they want to go that route, but I highly doubt it. So it gives John Cena... It gives John Cena a place that doesn't have to just necessarily be in the title picture. And I think that is much easier obtained on Raw.
Or ultimately, when we're talking about free agents, it could be like Heath Slater free agent, where somebody just forgot to sign the contract and extend John Cena on SmackDown Live. And ultimately,
I mean, hey, this company, they let The Rock's contract just run out. So would anything surprise you at this point?
True.
That is very, very true. But ultimately, I guess we'll find out, and then we'll talk about Roman Reigns and speculate, because he's already planning for SummerSlam. He waits for nobody. Roman Reigns is a one-man machine that controls his future. So with that, we go to Raw and SmackDown polls. Remember that every single week, you can go to social media. You can let us know. Give us your feedback about how you really feel about these shows. Are they improving, regardless of the ratings? Are you having fun watching them? With Raw, the overall consensus seems to be that it was just okay at 41% with 2 out of 4. When we go to SmackDown Live, 65% gave it 3 out of 4. Now, this is where it gets interesting. That's 3 out of 4. The second one is 18% at 1 out of 4. So for the first time ever, we have very contrasting opinions about SmackDown Live. Personally, I thought that both shows were okay this week. I don't think that okay should ever be acceptable. I think SmackDown got the message across. You know, like, I'm already looking forward to Money in the Bank, as opposed to like a Raw pay-per-view and the go-home show. I'm begging you, make me care about the show. With SmackDown, I'm in for the ride already. Plus, you got 2 Money in the Bank matches, right? So did you guys think that these shows brought anything to the table? We're going to get to Joe and Lesnar. So, you know, with the exception of this big once-in-a-while thing like Brock Lesnar on Raw, was there anything eventful that happened this week?
Not really. Like, I think you hit the nail on the head there with both Raw and SmackDown. They were both okay, because it's not like Raw was aggressively bad or SmackDown was just aggressively good. They both just kind of happened, and there wasn't really anything big outside of the Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar feud that happened at the beginning of Raw.
Yeah, that confrontation, that was the big highlight point of the week for sure. SmackDown, I thought for Go Home Show, it was just okay. And really, Go Home shows in general have just been kind of on the weaker side. And I think that's just because it's not the push that they need to usually do, like back in the old pay-per-view days.
Yeah, that's really true. I think that overall, you know, we're going to get that enjoyment from SmackDown. But let's talk about then, you know, Samoa Joe, Brock Lesnar. That was the big thing that happened this week, where I really like how I think I mentioned this on the show or in a conversation with you two, which is how's that interaction going to be between Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar? Because I don't see these two guys as like promo machines, right? Samoa Joe can talk, but it feels like these characters should not care about talking. They should care about physicality. And that's exactly what it was. And it gave me a flashback to Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle. I don't know if you guys remember that, but when Kurt Angle first showed up in TNA, Samoa Joe flashback with the headbutt. So that was super cool. And then the whole roster coming out, trying to split them up, showing the importance of, trying to stop something like this eventful. I know that sometimes we talk about WWE having to sort of save the first punch. I'm a big advocate of that, like try to save that for the pay-per-view. I think that with Brock Lesnar, because he's honestly barely ever there, you got to make it count when he's there. And I think that for the past 2 weeks, we can complain about Raw as the 3-hour show that we usually do. Samoa Joe has been built up excellently by the WWE. He is a legitimate number one contender, right?
Yeah, they turned things around with Joe real quick. I mean, he kind of floated around there for a bit. His feud with Seth Rollins was kind of But since he's won this match and become number one contender for the Universal title, he's been excellent. They portrayed his character exactly how you would want to see him portrayed. He's all business, not afraid of Brock Lesnar, and he did exactly what he needed to do this week, which is to come out and just start wailing on Lesnar. Just show he's not afraid, be a legitimate badass, and that's what he comes off as.
But while I agree, it still makes me... I'm almost hesitant to be all in on this, as all in as I want to be, because you hope so bad that both of these guys are just going to come out and just beat the living crap out of each other at great balls of fire. But from the last couple of Brock Lesnar matches, I'm worried that all of this is going to be for nothing. And then they go, like, Samoa Joe comes out, has a decent at best match with Brock Lesnar, gets beat, and then all of a sudden all of this making him look like a monster was for literally nothing a week later. And that's a real fear, I feel like. And I hope that's not the case, but history kind of speaks for itself a little bit.
We can at least say that the build is where we want it to be, that Joe is being taken seriously. So far, so good. It does come down to the match eventually, but at least in the build, he's not being just cast aside as this guy who's going to get crushed. He's seen as an actual threat, one of the best threats possible to Lesnar.
And in such a short amount of time, and this really is WWE's opportunity to clear up their mistakes. Are they willing to go Dean Ambrose, Brock Lesnar too? Are they crazy enough to give us a build-up that we care about, a match scenario that we care about at the great balls of fire, only to then just destroy Joe? Because like Dean Ambrose, he's the wacky character, right? So he can lose and it's fine. If you do that with Samoa Joe, you're done. Like what is the destroyer? What is the right hand of destruction, right? When you're the one that's being destroyed by a guy like Brock Lesnar, you're absolutely nothing. So ultimately, I think that we're going to be treated to something very, very good. And I'm hoping that it's one of these Raws. This is what I would like on the road to Great Balls of Fire. Samoa Joe needs to destroy somebody in a match. Like, not beat somebody up in a match, not win a match, but get to that Brock Lesnar level. I think that we've had the Paul Heyman thing, right? So he's not afraid to choke somebody out, especially, with the Advocate. He's not afraid to attack Brock Lesnar, destroy somebody, live up to your nickname. He calls himself the Inevitable, which is a weird nickname. Inevitably, just beat the hell out of somebody, please.
That sentence right there makes me so sad about the fact that Braun Strowman got injured, because if you look at the build so far, Braun Strowman is pretty interchangeable with Samoa Joe, and you would have had that entire backstory with Braun leading into this.
Yeah, that's very true.
Holy crap. You make a great point.
That's very true.
I'm just realizing it's very similar to why like Dolph Ziggler randomly won in Survivor Series that year, because he just took Roman Reigns' spot and they just literally plug and play with the exact storyline. Samoa Joe is Braun Strowman right now. This was supposed to be Strowman. So this is why he's being built up as the legitimate badass threat, and rightfully so. He definitely deserves it. But it makes me realize why they went with Joe, because Joe is the next closest thing to Strowman, just that hard-hitting guy who could be a real threat to Lesnar. Wow.
And everybody is now depressed because basically...
Hashtag you're welcome.
Yeah. What it all comes down to is, they're doing this great job with Samoa Joe and all that. It's just
because he's literally Braun Strowman right now.
And thousands upon thousands shed tears. Speaking of shedding tears, let's talk about Roman Reigns.
Great segue.
So
it works.
I'm not sure, if there's one thing I got to give credit to WWE about Roman Reigns is that they are all in. In video packages, they make sure he's the last one, that they are referencing. Like, they are not trying to hide the fact that this is the Roman Empire.
And so giving him his own video packages just sprawled throughout the show.
Because why not? You got 205 and Roman Reigns video packages. So now, we're not even in the middle of June, although we will by then. He's already going to make plans for SummerSlam. So let's do it, guys. What are the plans? Is it John Cena? And if so, what kind of angle do they go through with this? Because I don't think there's a single scenario.
Kurt's already involved in one, so I don't know where they go.
Woo. Because I just don't. I'm going to try to recover.
I expect that from him.
Yeah, I expect
not
that from
you.
Me. Yeah,
I let everyone down. I'm sorry.
Yes, you did. So I don't see any scenario where Roman Reigns is the good guy, or even the neutral guy, or even the guy, because it's John Cena. So what's going to happen here? Tell me, Keith. What are his plans?
All jokes aside, they will. If it is John Cena, they will build it around Roman Reigns being the guy. Because remember, go back a couple years ago where John Cena was cutting promos along the lines, if you want to be the new big guy here, you got to go through me. And they've never, Roman Reigns and John Cena have never really crossed paths in that way yet. And if they're on, like I mentioned earlier, the Roman Reigns runs through the entire roster 2017 tour, John Cena is probably one of the best stops on that to make him this big threat to Brock Lesnar. So that, honestly, Roman Reigns not being the good guy, the bad guy, but the guy is 100% what they build that around.
It definitely feels like that is the direction that is going to happen, because why else would you really make John Cena a free agent? And the answer is so that he can feud with somebody on Raw. And if you're trying to make SummerSlam, and the reason he's saying plans for SummerSlam, they want to do something big for SummerSlam. So really all signs point to Reigns and Cena fighting at SummerSlam. The thing, before this, let's say if ratings for Raw were doing great, I would have fully expected Jinder Mahal versus John Cena at SummerSlam. Something like that, where Cena would have stayed on SmackDown. But they want to go all out. They want to pass the torch to Roman Reigns. So it seems like, let's make Cena a free agent so he can go to Raw, feud with Roman Reigns, but we don't want to do it at a B-level pay-per-view. We want to do this at SummerSlam. It just seems so odd that Reigns is coming up with these plans. We still have Great Balls of Fire coming up. We have, I believe, Battleground is a Raw pay-per-view. Then there's SummerSlam.
He's above that.
Yeah. He's thinking 3 pay-per-views ahead, man. 3 pay-per-views ahead.
There's also just the straight chance that he goes right for Brock Lesnar as well. I don't think we can completely discredit that, where he just says, hey, Brock, you get me at SummerSlam. Because if Brock Lesnar's not going to be around for Battleground, then that SummerSlam is probably the next time we see Brock. So he just says straight up, I'm next in line for the title. I can say that because I beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
And this might just kind of trivialize whatever matches that Reigns has at Great Balls of Fire and at Battleground, because it's like, nothing's going to really happen to Reigns in between then, because we know he's still get his SummerSlam match. So whatever plans happen in between then really don't matter at all.
You can extend that thought out to till Roman Reigns faces Brock Lesnar.
Unless they book Lesnar and Reigns at SummerSlam. But
exactly.
if Reigns is announcing his plans next week, you got to think about this. I don't think they would quite look past Joe and Lesnar for that, because that's their premier feud going into this next pay-per-view. I feel like since he's announcing it next week, it seems unlikely that it's Lesnar, because they wouldn't book Lesnar ahead like that. I don't think that'd be a smart idea.
But if you word it as I'm facing the champion, not I'm facing Brock Lesnar,
Good point.
then that almost becomes null because let's face it.
And then they would wonder why people would dislike Reigns as he announced, I'm getting a title shot 2 pay-per-views ahead. I don't care who's champion.
That shows a bigger problem as a whole. Like the problem is that when you watch a movie, and especially, games, say you play a game that's like 15 hours long, even if the ending sucks, like take Mass Effect 3, for an example, the ride could be...
I like that ending.
Well, it's debatable, but people like the journey, right? Like the whole thing from point A to point B. Raw as a whole, like this is, you mentioned this as a Roman Reigns problem, Keith. This is a Raw problem. Like SmackDown Live, look at Fashion Police, right? And I'm not even here to talk about how much I love them all and all that, but week to week, you cannot miss SmackDown because if you like Breezango, they give you something unique, and you're not going to get that at the pay-per-view. You don't need to wait till Money in the Bank. You can enjoy them right there. Like right now, WWE has this mentality with Raw, which is, here's the pay-per-view, and then stuff in between. Let's get it out of the way. Like SummerSlam, we know there's the Great Balls of Fire, but we got to start building up the other thing. So you're left with just a big hole. How many times have we talked about Finn Balor at this point, where Finn Balor's like, he's sort of coasting. Like in the scenario, Samoa Joe is with Brock Lesnar. Roman Reigns is working on his plans. And then we have John Cena as a free agent. Whereas guys like Finn Balor are dealing with the Seth Rollins thing. Remember Seth Rollins, like, with the W24 documentary?
You could just start with remember Seth Rollins?
Not Seth Rollins, Seth freaking Rollins. I got to clarify that. But they had momentum with him with WWE24, and then they put him in as a bad guy, only to then put him in as a good guy for no reason. Finn Balor, he comes back, he has a WWE24 documentary, everybody's like all set, yeah man, the demon versus the beast, let's do it. No. So it's not even like a matter of fantasy booking, it's like the opportunity is right there. The crowd is telling you this is what should happen. The crowd is all into it. But because you have this narrow mindset of what you want to end up doing, you end up with a terrible 3-hour show. Because passable and just okay, not bad, are things we talk about every week about Raw.
But you
that
can
should
even
never
take
be a
it,
scenario.
Like, I see what you're saying. Whereas sometimes it's bad to have a plan because you're not as you can't be as reactive to the week to week responses of things. But that's kind of just like the great big fight with wrestling. Is it better to go, because people complain when they're too crazy week to week with changing things, and they're like, why can't they have a long-term plan with a slow burn feud? Like, we all like when things build over time. So you're always in that constant battle of how do we react to what's going on while still having sort of a plan so there's actually a direction for the show. So that's kind of just a problem that you're always fighting between those two philosophies.
It's almost like you can't please everyone.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest problems as a whole, man.
Yeah,
and
I don't know. I think we just like to see stories develop. Oh, you feel like there's progression week to week, and you build.
You're asking for too
something.
much.
That's what I'm saying. Like, go back to Breezango. I love the fact that we still don't know who wrecked their office. That it's a week to week thing that they keep building on. And even though, like, it would have been nice to find out before Money in the Bank so they could have a match, but nevertheless, that's the type of storytelling I like, where each week you at least get, it doesn't always have to be a mystery angle, but you have something to take away each week.
Especially Fandango, because Fandango's life. And now, ever since Christian returned in WECW, I think people have always been pondering, what is the second most uneventful return that you can have in WWE? So what better way than in a backstage segment with a lukewarm Mojo Rawley? You have an even just stale-sized Zack Ryder come back from injury. No build-up, no like big thing. And just when people think that, like he climbed that ladder at WrestleMania, he's going to get that individual opportunity. We're back as a tag team, folks, so the High Bros are officially reunited as well. The fire is going to be blazing. I have no idea what they're going to be doing long term with this tag team, because if the SmackDown tag division was the way it was like 3 months ago or even 2 months ago, where we were saying it's like stale, it's got to get better. it just seems like the high bros are so not in there. Like they seem so out of place. Like even the colognes are starting to blend into that tag division in a way that makes sense.
Don't act surprised about that. Come on.
So how do you guys feel about this then? Zack, I think he deserves better. I think that Mojo Rawley is inevitably going to end up main eventing a pay-per-view, but that's not going to happen for a very long time. I think that is another project. That is like Dr. Thugonomics John Cena. We still don't know what final Mojo Rawley is going to be. He's still like Super Saiyan 1.
Yeah, this is not even his final form.
No, hell no.
I don't know. I mean, how much of a pop would Zack Ryder have gotten if he did some sort of run-in? It could have been, I mean, people, just the nostalgia of when people were super hyped for Zack Ryder could have been something. Maybe they just didn't want to take their chances that there would be some sort of lukewarm reception when he showed up.
As opposed to this?
But I don't know. For some reason, I didn't get a chance to watch Talking Smack this week because I think the Hype Bros were on it. But something tells me that Zack Ryder is going to turn heel or something on Mojo. I was about to say that. I felt it.
I'm calling it right now. Zack Ryder will turn on Mojo Rawley, and I think that could be a good feud. I think a Zack Ryder versus Mojo Rawley is better in the long run than just, hey, let's do the Hype Bros again. Because it gives Zack Ryder something to do, and it gives Mojo Rawley a opportunity to work up the card. Because I'm with you, Juan, that I think one day Mojo Rawley will be a main eventer. I mean, hell, if Jinder can do it, so can Mojo. Because by laws of WWE, Mojo beat Jinder, right? So he's basically like the world champion right now. I know, but I think, but my point there was that anybody has a shot, and
Jinder's
Mojo
champ,
definitely
anyone can be.
Yeah, and Mojo definitely has everything he needs to be a champion one day, but that day is not today. And a feud like Zack Ryder would help him get there. I believe that.
Yeah, the fact that Zack Ryder came back in the suit, like the suit look of just like maybe he's a little more serious and there's going to be this disconnect. And I think they'll start out as the Hype Bros again for a little while. But I fully see Zack Ryder, he'll have all the reason, you tried to do all the, like, you forgot about me, trying to pass me by, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that they could use for a feud like that. And it'll get kind of a nice mid-card feud going on Smackdown, which might be the Smackdown has a new weakness, and I think it's the mid-card. I mean, guys like Luke Harper don't even exist anymore. What happened to Ty Dillinger?
Eric who?
Yeah, so that's kind of a problem right now. So a feud like that going on could definitely help.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to say about Zack is almost copy-paste what I thought about Dolph Ziggler's turn, like just before it happened, is if you go down the generic route of, I no longer care about you, we saw how that turned out for Dolph Ziggler. Like, I think even Nakamura, I didn't watch Talking Smack, but people are saying that he, like, insinuated that Dolph Ziggler wants to wrestle in Japan, almost like leaving WWE. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I've been reading. But Zack Ryder needs to reinvent himself completely. He's been the same character since WWE CW. Think about that. From woo woo woo, you know it. Like, I have a Zack Ryder shirt. I have a Zack Ryder Beat Sprite, and those are old. Those are really, really old. And it seems like every time they wanted to reinvent him, they just upped the level of woo-woo-ness instead of actually just scrapping that altogether. So go down the Emma route. Like, Emma was like this ditzy character. Not just saying that because they were in a relationship previously, but you gotta remove all of that. Like, the dumb smiles, the quirkiness, be a serious character. Like, take a risk and do like 2008 Chris Jericho. I dare them. I double dog dare them.
That character should have went off the stage with Zack Ryder in that wheelchair.
Everything bad about Zack Ryder should have gone off that wheelchair, but unfortunately we're still here, right?
Exactly.
Now, a show that you guys maybe didn't get a chance to watch, I did, and I just wanted to bring it up for a couple of minutes. It's Bring It to the Table. So the latest episode, man, it clicked. I think that, Ryan, you've talked about previous ones, and I've watched them after you mentioned them, and it definitely motivated me to check them out. And just today, I was like, you know what? I'm home from work. So why not check it out? And I'm very happy I did. I think the chemistry is finally blending in between Corey and JBL and Peter. And like they didn't hold back. Like JBL was basically saying like Bailey's gonna fail. Like at one point they asked him directly, like, do you think Bailey's gonna succeed? And his answer was basically no. Like they talk about This Is Your Life. You know, that Jackie Gator match, like how JBL was involved in that match, and that was a terrible segment, but he managed to remove himself from that, right? Like that tag match didn't make JBL. So those were just exceptional
What
things.
match is that? I don't remember that.
That was JBL and Trish Stratus versus Chris Nowinski and Jackie Gator tag team match on Raw, like 2003.
It's where Jackie Gator was she couldn't figure out how to sell any move correctly, and it was super awkward.
Oh, that one. Okay. Yep. Okay.
I did watch this bring it to the table. I thought this was probably the best one they've ever done. Corey Graves made some excellent points early, but yeah, going to what you said with JBL talking about Bailey, he made two important points. One being that, hey, one segment will never kill anybody. You can recover from anything. That's why he brought up that example, was even though that was one of the worst segments ever, everyone, was still able to come out of that. I'm sure maybe Jackie Gator and Chris Nowinski didn't, find success in the WWE, but that wasn't the thing.
For very different reasons.
Yeah, exactly. Though. That was not the thing that took that away from them. And the same thing isn't going to happen with Bailey, but I think he definitely did not have confidence in the direction of her character. And, he had suggested, some things in NXT aren't going to always translate to the main roster. And I think Bailey, she can find success on the roster. You just had to be very, very careful with how you do handle her character. And it just hasn't been handled well.
I agree. I have not seen Bring It to the Table yet, but I agree with the points that you guys are mentioning. I do need to check it out, but not one segment can ruin an entire career. But you still have to be careful going forward, because like a couple of bad months can end up ruining a career for sure. But it's definitely not too late for Bailey. I still believe that.
Yeah, it's still a comeback story. In a row.
Yeah, and what you mentioned about not everything from NXT working on the main roster, the opposite can happen. Like, look at Elias Sampson. Like, Elias Sampson in NXT, nothing. Like, people can now wait for him to get off the TV. It was go away. It was like X-Pac levels, right? It wasn't like, boo, this is a bad guy. Just a couple of tweaks on Raw, and people just, he's getting to like the Vicky Guerrero level. He is actually slowly on his way to doing that.
Because Elias Sampson is one of those, he's like a Jinder Mahal type of gimmick where the casual fans, like that's a gimmick that a lot of casual fans will really hate. And Elias Sampson is totally that. Whereas you go to NXT, that's like all the marquee type people. So they like the cool heels. You know what I mean? So that's just not going to work there. So
the big question, I got a big question for you. Would you walk with Elias?
I would.
Where
I would walk with Elias.
Like a mall, like to the movie theater, Taco
on the
Bell.
beach.
Yeah,
a long walk on the beach.
It all depends where he's going. Like I'm not above a good walk. Like maybe I can catch some Pokemon on the way. You never know. It might be a fun time.
Yeah, 1 year anniversary events coming up, man. There's a lot of good stuff to catch.
Wow. It's already been a year since Pokemon Go?
Almost a year. It was early July.
I picked it up again recently. I'm out there catching the Pokemans again.
I think I got to pick it up again just so I start moving again.
Yeah, I've been too lazy, man. I caught a Cyndaquil yesterday, and I felt real good about that. That's my story.
You know what WWE Superstars are going to be looking to catch? That briefcase above the ring. Because now, folks, it's time to talk about Money in the Bank 2017. We're going to be getting to our predictions about all of it, and definitely let us know on social media who you think is going to be winning. If you're watching us or listening to us on YouTube, definitely drop a comment, send us emails about Money in the Bank as well. Are you looking forward to the event? So we're going to be getting to all of the matches and giving some overall feedback, like the go-home Smackdown, what we expect from these matches. And ultimately, we're now on the road to SummerSlam. So first up, let's talk about Naomi versus Lana. Let's start it off with controversy. Sort of talking a little bit about bringing it to the table. They actually brought this up, which is that it's almost like what we said, where if it's a train wreck, everybody wins. If it's a success, everybody wins. If it's like right in the middle, like there's going to be a lot of controversy surrounding this match. Like, Corey Graves and Bring It to the Table mentioned that she's in the Performance Center. She's training there. I still don't know what to expect from this match. Like, Lana doesn't feel like she's part of the SmackDown Live women's roster. She feels like she's like above it, and not in like a good way. It's like they stamped her on top of it. Like, she's part of that division, but not really.
Yeah, she definitely feels out of place because you're not used to seeing her as a part of the women's division, really. This is the first time she's really kind of cemented herself into that division, because she just kind of had that one-off thing where she was included in the group for WrestleMania like 32, right? Was it 30? Yeah, it was 32.
Did Lana have a one-on-one match?
She's never had a singles match on TV.
She's not even in like NXT.
Not even in the Summer Rae Dolph Ziggler feud.
No.
Like, was that all tag matches and stuff?
Yeah, she's never. I don't even think she had a match during that, because I think her debut match was literally WrestleMania 32. So she has the weirdest career ever. Her first match is at WrestleMania. Her second and first singles match is for the women's title at a pay-per-view. So yeah, I honestly think this will be a train wreck, and I'm going to disagree with you, Juan. If it's a train wreck, I don't think anybody wins. As much as I want to believe that this will be awesome, I feel like Lana's kind of being thrown into this just because they had the decision that they want to do the women's Money in the Bank, and there was literally nobody to face Naomi. She's probably being rushed into this, and it'll be a bit messy. Maybe it won't be that bad. I don't expect anything great.
Yeah, this is more than anything. This is a make or break moment for Lana's career. And I'm with Ryan, where I hope this isn't a train wreck. I hope they go out there and they kill it, because that can only lead to good things. Like, having another contender on the SmackDown women's roster is not a bad thing, because there's a lot of them there right now. Like, anybody in the Money in the Bank match we're going to talk about in a little bit can totally win that match. And if you add Lana into that fold, there's nothing bad that can come out of that. And for that reason, I hope it's at least good. Lana needs to have a good match. I don't think there's any stakes in it for Naomi, really, because even if it's a bad match, Naomi moves on to the next thing next week. And as far as who wins, I'm going to say it has to be Naomi. I don't think, even though Lana should have a great match, I don't think she has a shot at the title right now, because that's just way too soon.
Yeah, I'm picking Naomi as well.
It's just so weird, because think about this. We've had this build up for over a month, right? Like about 2 months of like Lana between Rusev, who magically disappeared because Jinder Mahal got that opportunity. So she's been actively promoted, only to then like not win. It just seems like, where do you go, right? But I'm not saying she should win. I do think that Naomi should win, and I don't think that this can be a train wreck. I'm not saying it's gonna be. It can't possibly be that, right? Like, would WWE actually take the risk of, in the midst of a women's Money in the Bank ladder match, have like the best match of the night and the worst match of the night both feature women? At the same time, I could have almost answered my question. Yeah, because like you're gonna have the good women's wrestling match, right? And it
really doesn't matter unless this is a great match. It doesn't matter how bad this match is, now that I think about it, because at the end of the day, everybody's going to remember the women's Money in the Bank match. This match is going to be an afterthought.
Imagine if it steals the show.
Yeah,
that would be great.
They have a 5-star classic.
They could. Like, that's the thing. Imagine the scenario where we have to debate which was the best women's match in Money in the Bank, objectively speaking, and we're like dead serious about this. Like,
is it the ladder match or the match with the rear view?
I will go with the rear view, man. I'm all about the glow. I'm all about the glow. So I'm also going to be going with Naomi for the victory. Now, WWE Tag Team Championship match. We have the Usos. Their day one is H, because it is here. That being a match against the New Day. So this can be a great one. I think that this is going to be, you know how the Usos had like that chemistry with the Shield, like when they first came up. I think this can be the natural evolution of that. This is going to be an awesome tag team match where both tag teams are going to be able to showcase that. And the New Day, even though we talk about them being the fun tag team, we're going to get the wrestling portion in the best way possible. Who do you guys see coming out the winner?
I'm going to go with the Usos winning the first encounter. I think they're going to sneak a win in because I think this program is going to go longer than one pay-per-view. I mean, Usos are an amazing tag team, and I know them and the New Day, they're going to have an awesome match. This will probably be one of the best matches. But it doesn't seem like, since the New Day just got here, that they're going to just throw the titles right on them immediately, unless they're going to kind of start trading them back and forth. I see like the Usos just sneaking by with a win and things moving on to the next pay-per-view.
I kind of see it from the opposite perspective, where the New Day showed up on Smackdown. They're the biggest thing around. I think they will put the titles on them immediately. It'll probably be something, my guess is that it'll involve something involving the Fashion Police costing the Usos the title. Maybe at Money in the Bank, we find out they're the ones that destroyed the office, and then they come out and try and arrest one of the Usos, and it costs them the match, or something along those lines. But I think that they will put the titles on New Day immediately. And you know how they kind of teased that maybe the New Day will hold the titles until WrestleMania? I could see that being a possibility.
That would be crazy if they actually tried to do something similar to last time to break. I'm not saying they're going to break a streak, but are you just going to double dip in that?
Why not? They are one of the best around.
I want them to eventually have singles careers, man. I mean, they're a great group, but I want that Big E singles push eventually, man.
Do you think it'll be time for?
I don't think you do.
Forget about like the marketing stuff, Keith. Do you see in 2017, we're in June, from here to December, do any of the members of the New Day win a singles championship?
Possibly. Now, that's with the asterisks of still a member of the New Day. Yeah, if they could win the U.S. championship, like I could see Kofi Kingston as U.S. champion, but he is still a member of the New Day doing so. The New Day doesn't break up this year.
Yeah, I'm not saying break them up. I just want to see them go for singles titles. We've seen them as a group for so long. I mean, they'll be coming up on 3 years at this point.
But they had a golden opportunity for that recently with Kofi Kingston's injury, and they chose to just keep them off television.
The SmackDown tag division needs them. They need them as kind of the linchpin for the division. And the SmackDown tag division used to be one of the weakest aspects of SmackDown. It's now improved significantly. But they still need them there as that foundation. But maybe down the line, maybe going into WrestleMania, that they'll be able to kind of break off and start doing their own thing. I'm not saying now, I'm just saying down the line, I would like to see that happen.
I think that happens after WrestleMania.
Man, it's going to be quite the road. I'm just hoping that Big E becomes champion in one day. I think the man deserves it. I know that's a topic for another day. It just seems like it would be a shame if somebody with that much charisma just becomes the tag team guy that could have, right? Like Matt Hardy, I don't think will ever become a world champion. We want to see that singles run, what it would be like for Big E. This is the next step.
I do want to see it. Like, I want to see it in the way that, like, so Big E didn't have the best run the first time, and I'd like to be proven wrong and like not have that not be my first thought when I think Big E singles run. But I love the New Day so much. Even when they're bad, they're still not the worst thing. And that makes me want them to stay together forever.
They've been together now like twice as long as the Shield was. So it's
and why is that a bad thing? They're still good.
I'm just saying, like, for wrestling, they are for wrestling in today's day, they are one of the longest running factions ever.
Are you tired of the New Day right now, Ryan?
I'm not tired of the New Day. In fact, since they've just come back, they feel really fresh right now. I'm just saying, down the line, let's see the single stuff.
So talking about single stuff, Jinder Mahal, he's going to be defending the WWE Championship against Randy Orton, Mr. Dive himself, which It sucks that we didn't get a chance to talk about that, bring it to the table stuff. Listen to JBL talk about dives. I thought that he was going to take a neutral look into it. Oh, boy. Keith,
Yeah.
if you want a reason.
Did you really think that JBL would take a neutral stance on that thing? Because I haven't heard a peep, and I know you are very wrong.
No, dude, you got to listen to that. My God, does that man go all in on the topic. It is entertaining as hell. Even Corey Graves is kind of like, let's soften this up a little bit. Come on, let's look for different angles. So naturally, high flying stuff. Jinder Mahal, he's retaining, right?
I have to go with the modern day Maharaja. Jinder Mahal will retain. I mean, dude, his entrance is getting more badass by the day. You know, he comes
really
out
is.
now. He's got like the thing over his face. Then you see like this red line that starts like bringing his like floor Titantron into the picture. Then when he lifts up the title, all the lights come on. Like the dude looks like a legitimate champion. Like I think it's going great so far. Maybe some people don't like Jinder, but I'm loving every second of his title reign. Randy Orton, I don't really know what you gain by having Randy Orton win the title back. I think there's way more to gain by having Jinder Mahal continue his reign as champion, eventually feud with John Cena, and John Cena's got to fight for America at some point. You know that feud's coming. Until then, I think it's just way more interesting to have Jinder with the title, and I feel like they want to keep it on him.
That feud is coming, but there's also a Canadian going around saying he's the face of America, so I don't think that happens with Jinder Mahal. This one for me is hard to predict, and I like it for that because I want Jinder Mahal to win. It's almost like a reverse of their Backlash match, where everything feels like Jinder Mahal should win this match, and that's why Randy Orton is going to win this match. Where, you know, it's Orton's hometown. Recently, they have been making people lose in their hometowns, but maybe Randy's a little different this time, and they have Randy win his title back. I want Jinder to win, but I don't feel confident in it. So that's why I'm going to go with Orton. I don't want it to happen, but I think Orton's going to regain his title.
That RKO out of nowhere on SmackDown was excellent, by the way.
It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was.
And then his lack of teeth afterwards almost added to it.
I don't know, man. Like, it feels like the modern day Maharaja should continue to become champion, and that's my pick. But there's that little corner of my brain that's just telling me he's just going to not be the champion anymore, not a lot of explanation, and they are going to move on. Like, there's this whole thing about, you know, India, is that marketable for WWE or not? Like, stick with this, man. Like, this is not just a big opportunity for Jinder. It's a big opportunity for, like, Mojo Rawley. I know people don't love Mojo Rawley too much, but it's for people around that tier, right? Like, take this chance so then you're willing to show that you can take that chance with other stars, like not just Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, if they want him to be a star, they can't just give up on him already. And I don't think he has done a single thing that you would say, okay, take the title off of him. He's not doing well. I think he's done pretty well with everything since he's become champion. I really see no reason to take that away from him.
Yeah, I think he's been a great champion so far. Way better than I would have guessed in a million years. He's been solid every single week. But to your point, Juan, even if Jinder loses at Money in the Bank, you still have that gold standard example going forward, because the conversation from now until the end of time on SmackDown is, if Jinder can do it, anybody can do it. And that's period. Like, you don't need a long title run to still have that point standing there.
So now, let's talk about the Money in the Bank ladder matches. The first up, let's talk about the women's one. So we have Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Natalya, Tamina, and Carmella. So the winner, much like the male one, this is just simply that they have the opportunity to cash in either at an arena, during a match, before a match. It's not a hardcore match rules. It's not 24/7, but they have this opportunity. So I want to start things off by saying that it should probably still be Carmella Like James Ellsworth, if he was not part of the equation, I would totally go with like an Natalia. I think that she can be really annoying with it. I don't think there's a chance in hell Tamina can win. Then again, Jinder Mahal is your champion for the main championship, so anything's possible. But it just makes so much sense for Carmella to win this, right? Like I think Becky Lynch will be the feel good moment. Like, yeah, Becky Lynch did it, but then what? There's no story to tell other than eventually you're going to cash in.
Yeah, Carmella, just all the stars kind of align to her being the one that should win it. You got the Ellsworth factor of like he can be the one that's always carrying the briefcase around, and you know you can use it as a weapon and all of that. Like heels always just feel better as the Money in the Bank person because it makes more sense when they're more advantageous about when they use it. She's good on the mic. She can talk about, you know, when she's going to cash in and all that. It all seems to really make sense that it should be her. And also because she's never won the title. So it's more interesting when you have that factor. It's always good. I mean, Charlotte Flair has won multiple women's championships. Becky Lynch has already been champion. Natalya has been a champion. Tamina just doesn't seem like she's been built enough to be a factor. So Carmella's really in that true Money in the Bank spot of the person who hasn't done it yet. And also is a heel that would make sense to cash in at a particular time.
Yeah, you know, I never really considered Carmella up until this conversation, but that is probably the best case scenario because I was thinking Becky Lynch just because that's kind of the, even though it's obvious, it's a very out of nowhere pick because Becky's hit a rut. She's almost like her and Bayley kind of have similarities in different stages of where they are in their WWE
Except they haven't
career.
Completely assassinated her character. Becky's character is still okay. It's just not being really showcased enough.
Yeah.
You just can't be too nice. Apparently, if you're nice, bad things happen to you.
It's true.
People
but
betray you.
Carmella's great. I hope James Ellsworth wins the Money in the Bank and just Carmella gets it from proximity. That's the closest I can get to that. So from that, I will choose Carmella as well.
Yeah, just way too many stories to tell here. Like James Ellsworth can be, oh, this is when you cash in. Like he's trying to be her advisor. Like at one point, like he probably is going to cash in for her. So the referee is like, yo, this is like Carmella's briefcase, not yours. So
that would be so good.
The entertainment
value is real. What if they Harvey Whippleman James Ellsworth?
What if?
Yeah. And nobody's picking Charlotte because we all assume that she'll win the title before a cash-in even happens.
800%.
I hope Charlotte does not win this Money in the Bank because she's going to win it anyway. So it's almost a waste of the briefcase.
And with that, let's talk about the other Money in the Bank ladder match. We have Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, and Shinsuke Nakamura. So with this one, this is tricky because like
this is tough.
It's almost the exact same scenario. Like, hear me out. I'm going to go with Sami Zayn for the exact same reasons I just said for Carmella. Carmella is an annoying character, and so is James Ellsworth. What is Sami Zayn? This annoying character that no one likes to be around. Everybody else, like AJ Styles, you have a briefcase. So what? You're one of the best guys in that company. Like everybody else, it makes sense. It makes sense except Dolph Ziggler. Just don't win anything ever again. So Sami Zayn, just have that with him and have just people beg him like, dude, don't cash in. Just don't even be on the show at this point. Just be the most annoying character possible. And I think that, much like Carmella, tells a great story.
Sami Zayn can almost fit like a Daniel Bryan winning the Money in the Bank briefcase kind of role, where he just gets destroyed up until the moment he cashes in.
So I had for a hot second considered Sami Zayn as my pick, but I'm going to go with sort of the pick that a lot of people feel comfortable with, and that's Baron Corbin, because once again fills that role of the guy who's not quite at, he's kind of flirted with the main event scene, but he is not reached that point yet, and
third base.
They like to throw the money in the bank on a guy who they kind of want to build up to eventually be solidified as a main eventer, and Baron Corbin really fits that mold really well.
Do you think WWE would do like two villainous Money in the Bank holders on the same show?
Yeah, that's the one thing that I'm kind of like, maybe they won't do that. But then again, Carmella may not win it, so maybe I'm kind of...
Didn't Sandow and Seth Rollins win the same year? Like, it's not exactly out of the
it's not
ordinary.
Completely out of
brands,
like,
though.
Yeah, out of the ordinary. But I'm gonna stick with Corbin either way. And also, one quick thing: Nakamura was used perfectly this week. This is the best. Yep. This is Nakamura's best week ever as far as promos and segments go. Just gave him one perfect one-liner that was hilarious when Sami Zayn's being all annoying with strategy and all that, and AJ Styles can't stand him. Nakamura's just like, I like him. It was perfect. It was hilarious and perfectly done. That's how you use Nakamura.
It was really good. But as far as my pick goes, I agree with your reasoning on Corbin, but for all of that, I kind of have to go with Nakamura on this one, even though it seems like the easy pick. Because you have this guy, he's going to be a main eventer one day, but it's just a matter of when. There feels like there's still ground to tread before that. So now you have all these scenarios. When's Nakamura going to cash in? And when's he going to cash in? And you can build that, like...
It immediately makes him a big
dialogue. Deal. It makes him a big deal, and it basically signs that check, like, okay, he is going to be champion one day, and then it leaves people like us just asking the question of when over and over again, and that creates a fun dialogue from that. So I'm hoping Nakamura wins just for that. And you can have a situation where maybe his next feud is with AJ for SummerSlam, right? Well, that means he's not going to cash in immediately. And it adds maybe something interesting to that feud with AJ, where maybe they end up fighting over the Money in the Bank briefcase, or something along those lines.
It's not bad. Like, if Sammy doesn't win, I just don't see Corbin winning it. Like, he already had like the Andre the Giant, trophy. I just don't see. I see him becoming champion. I see him in the same vein where I do Charlotte, where they're inevitably going to become champions on their respective brands, like wherever they end up being. Because like Corbin could be champion 2 years now.
I think he needs that legitimacy. I think there's a case...
Money in the Bank does not really get you that
historically. Not always.
Corbin is definitely my number 2. That if it's Nakamura, I want it to be Corbin.
Yeah, so I guess that's it. We have split decisions on the Money in the Bank matches. We feel a little bit weird, right? Like about that WWE Championship match, because like with Raw, we're speculating about John Cena and what's going to be happening with Brock and Samoa Joe. With SmackDown, I'm not sure what SummerSlam is going to look like. Like I don't have a clear picture of that, but I like that at the same time, Like we don't always need to have this clear path. We always complain about that. So it's nice that we get that uncertainty, because ultimately at the end of the day, I think SmackDown turns out to be a really fun show for everybody. So why not keep going with that, right? So folks, every single week we get your questions. You can send them to Bite That Cast on Twitter. Use the hashtag AskBT. Don't look at all the other hashtags that sometimes get spread around with that one. You can go to bitethatcast@gmail.com. Send us an email. Let us know where you're from and how long you've been listening to the show. Remember, next week, episode 200. And if you're listening on YouTube, just drop a comment on that episode. We'll take a look at that. Maybe it makes it onto the show. We try our best to answer a couple of the questions. Now, this week, one of these questions is so big, it almost became a video or a podcast topic itself, because we sent this out on social media. So the main event was not the Money in the Bank prediction, folks. It's the one that's going to be coming up in just a bit. You say that, but it's not as complicated as you make it out to be. Oh, yes, we'll get there. It is. We'll get there. But first, this first question comes in from Brett C., who asks, "Hello, gentlemen. Hello. In response to Liam V's question from a couple weeks ago, in Australia, only pay TV subscribers can watch Raw and SmackDown.
He only watches YouTube clips, reads PW Torch blogs, and of course, listens to us.
Woo.
So cool. There you go. A little bit of insight there. My question this week is regarding the lack of main event heels on Raw. With Joe versus Brock coming up, and Wyatt versus Rollins, and Miz versus Ambrose, what other main event heels do they have for people like Finn Balor and Roman Reigns? Who do you think they will be feuding with next? Thanks, guys. Thank you, Brett C.
You know what this got me thinking is that we need a Triple H heel. Like, when I say Triple H heel, do you guys understand, like, what that implies?
A heel that can do whatever he wants?
Not even that. A heel in the sense that it's a bad guy. It is a villain.
So what you're saying is you need some sort of authority figure.
Not even that, man.
Back.
I'm saying like cerebral assassin Triple H. Because like you look at the landscape right now. What do we have?
What you want is Samoa Joe. Like if there is somebody that is going to fit that mark, if it is not Seth Rollins, it is Samoa Joe.
Yeah, it is Samoa Joe in a way. I think that Samoa Joe can excel that level, but I think that's like the big problem. Like it's not even of, who is the heel, but what is a heel? Like, is a heel your Elias Sampson, where like Ryan mentioned earlier, he's somebody that the casual fan can understand. I gotta boo him. Same thing with Jinder Mahal. And I think that we've just lost track of like a built-up heel with the story. Like cerebral assassin Triple H had the story, right? Like when Evolution happened, the story was like, look at, this is the guy that had DX, and now he's building up the future. There was this long-standing purpose, and to this day, we got Randy Orton. We got Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy, thanks to Triple H, right? There's nothing like that right now. Nothing like that at all.
The direct one-to-one. We got Drax the Destroyer because of Triple H.
Yes. There is a serious lack of heels on Raw. I mean, especially when you have Joe and Brock, who are both kind of heels. I mean, we don't even really know what the true status of either of these guys are at this point, but they're both tied up in a feud, so it really does kind of leave Balor's and Reigns with what the heck are they going to do? I don't know what Roman is going to do for Great Balls of Fire, and he's trying to talk about SummerSlam. We don't even know what the heck they're going to do with him in the meantime. Strowman was obviously that guy, and hopefully he's back sooner than later. Strowman was a great heel that they were building up into the main event. Unfortunately, he's hurt right now, so they're down a person, so it makes it even more difficult. I have no freaking clue what, who they can have to work with Balor and Reigns right now. Maybe they tag up in some sort of tag team feud against Sheamus and Cesaro at this point, because I have no idea.
Yeah, I think more than anything, what we're feeling right now is the void that Braun Strowman left when he got injured. Because he's supposed to be that guy, and if he was around to feud with Lesnar, that would free up Samoa Joe, who would fit perfectly into a feud with somebody like Reigns or Finn Balor. So it all trickles down from that. And
yeah,
and it kind of sucks. Please come back soon.
One thing I would say, though, is that you should have Balor and The Miz feud, because maybe you just do a TV rematch for Ambrose and The Miz for the IC title, and then you immediately move to Miz and Balor, because you can already have Ambrose feuding with Elias Sampson, so that way you can open The Miz up to feud with somebody, because he's definitely a guy you can bring up higher. He deserves to be higher on the card, so have him feud with Balor, because Roman Reigns would just Shrek him and it wouldn't be interesting.
Agreed there. And I would like to point out that even 2 weeks later, I still 100% support Bears. So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Snipin' Sexton, who asks, "Hello all. Hello. Is it just me, or could the WWE make, quote, hella bank with licensed bathrobes?"
I love the quote, hella banks.
Hella banks.
Keaton
Not
want to
hella
be
banks,
responsible
hella
for
bank.
that.
Yeah. Not hella banks. That's something completely different, but hella bank. But Snipin' Sexton continues, "I would wear a glorious Bobby Roode bathrobe all the time. You and me both, brother. There's plenty of current and former superstars that wore robes that could easily be replicated. People like Ric Flair." He actually has Ric Flair there twice, and I still agree. Macho Man Randy Savage, Goldust, Damian Sandow. What do you guys think?
It's a gold
I don't know
mine.
if I dreamed this or not, but didn't they sell a Sandow robe briefly?
I think they did.
Maybe. I might be remembering it.
Yes. I mean, let's be
remembering it
real.
wrong.
We made a video about them selling an always pounding ass T-shirt. There is nothing that is
or a
off
hat
the table.
with a beard on the brim of it.
Yeah, or Sin Cara with a penis.
Yeah, well, I mean, he does have one, but
You don't
I
have
think
to
it's a
limit that
cool
to,
idea. I just don't like the Ric Flair ones. If you want a real Ric Flair robe, though, that thing's gonna be expensive. Like if you want to go all out with it, that's the thing. The Sandow one totally could have worked. It's just now Sandow is just not a thing anymore. But because that looks like a more affordable thing that people could buy. I don't know. I think it's cooler when they make their own. Because, I mean, a lot of these are just so over the top that it would be a little too expensive. Just like a Chris Jericho light up jacket. I mean, I think if you're that dedicated, it's cool if you make your own. Because, it's just not something that I think would be a hot seller. Because it's one thing to wear a t-shirt. But how much utility are you going to get out of a Ric Flair robe?
Oh, you don't know, man. You don't know what happens on Friday nights.
Unless they kind of like just put like a pattern or something on a bathrobe, and then it's more like a traditional bathrobe.
What I will say is, like, talk about bathrobes. Why don't we have pajamas that are basically the outfits of WWE superstars? Like, we have all these towels and all that stuff. Imagine like pajamas that are based on Goldust outfit or Enzo Amore. Like, that would be a gold mine, and that's not too complicated. Just have the pattern, like pajama stuff, man.
Don't they have Halloween costumes like that?
Yes,
where you can
but have that all year. Have your Roman Reigns pajamas. Become the Empire. Oh my, that's your tagline. Dirty pajamas. Become
all right,
the
so
Empire.
thank you for the question. Our next one.
I was going to say,
no, we're done.
Okay, what if they had the Rock pajamas or whatever? It's like a full thing, but it's like, it's got like a muscular body with like trunks on it. Wouldn't that just look weird?
What about Gotenks?
They have that. They have that with, I'm ignoring that, but they have that with the Halloween costumes where it's just like, they had a CM Punk one where it's just tattoos and tights, and it was
awkward.
Real sad. But thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Jake Pauler for life, who asks, do you all believe that SmackDown will eventually receive a third hour? And what do you think that will do for the WWE?
What triggers? No, please, no.
No.
I think one of the biggest highlights of SmackDown is that it ends an hour early. So I don't think they will, because they're kind of stuck in this scenario with Raw. But I think everyone at WWE, everyone realizes what a mistake the third hour was. Sure, it's more money. I don't think anyone likes doing that extra hour. I don't think they're going to plan on adding that to SmackDown at all. They're stuck with it with Raw. Let's not make the same mistake twice.
Agreed. And plus, if you think about it from a live show aspect, right now, Raw and SmackDown are completely comparable because you have the 3-hour Raw, but then you have 2 hours of SmackDown and then 205 live. So you're getting the same.
What about main event?
So you're getting the same experience when you go to a live show, whether it be Raw or SmackDown. If you add another hour to SmackDown, you're disrupting that balance again. So then you'd have to like start having the questions: do we add another show or a fourth hour to Raw?
Don't disrupt the balance.
That only
Ryan.
leads exactly. Juan, anything to add?
You guys have pretty much said everything, but generally speaking, I think that if you make it a 3-hour show, I'm done. Like, I just cannot consume that. I think
he's out. Flip, he's out.
Now, here's the sad part. If SmackDown was on Thursdays, I think the WWE would risk doing that because you have 2 days in between, so they can theoretically just go, well, they got 2 days worth of break, but back to back, like 6 hours, which we already technically get 4 hours. Like SmackDown with Talking Smack and 205 Live is about 3.5 hours.
Never mind a pay-per-view week with all that.
Oh my God, no!
In a Big Four pay-per-view where you have the NXT the night before.
Stop it, Ryan.
It's too much. It's too
You're gonna
much.
make me cry now. Please stop.
I don't. Oh my God, Smackdown can never move off of Tuesdays, or else I might flip the table and be out, because that's. I like that it's just this condensed package, and hey, at least as bad as it is, some weeks I can still have the rest of my week. Like there's something that I can have that's me, and not just being dragged down by this ball and chain that is sometimes known as professional
3 days
wrestling.
of our lives to WWE. I do. It actually helps that it's condensed.
Condense
All
it. Condense
Indeed.
it.
So thank you for the question. Our next one comes in from Irish T, who asks, "What's up, Bite That? Do you guys have any tattoos? If so, why not? And what are some of your favorite tattoos on wrestlers? Some of mine are Jeff Hardy's sleeve, Bray Wyatt's, Randy Orton's sleeves, and The Godfather's."
Godfather was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't have tattoos. I've thought about getting tattoos, but I just am not willing to commit yet, to like what kind of tattoo. Like I've always wanted like some kind of like wrestling themed tattoo, but that it not be obviously about wrestling. The problem is like the commitment is real, Plus, like I know the whole thing about like discrimination, like it shouldn't happen, but people look at you differently sometimes when you have tattoos. Like I have friends that have full sleeve tattoos, and unfortunately they get so many looks. And I asked them, like, how do you feel about that? And it's at first they don't really care about it, but deep down inside, at some point, it eats them alive, and it sucks, right? Like that should not be the thing. But am I opposed to getting tattoos? No. As far as which tattoo I like in WWE, I kind of like Bray Wyatt's combination. Like I hate his back tattoos. I think that Batista hated his tattoos, like the belly, like the sun thing. He finally got rid of that. But really, like the real answer is Undertaker. Like growing up, I just thought it was super cool to see like this whole like dead man character and then like sleeved up arms. That just looked awesome.
I do not have any tattoos, no plans to get any. It just really comes down to the fact that there's nothing in my life that has truly motivated me to feel that it was worthy of getting a tattoo.
Keith's
and
face.
my interests change. And what I think is cool at, 21, 25, 27, I'm probably not going to think that's cool when I'm 40, 50 years old. So I'm not really going to make that commitment. As far as what tattoos I think are cool, I mean, CM Punk's, he has so many that are just like little kind of things. They're all tattoos I think it's cool. Oh, he's got the Pepsi logo. He's got like the, ace or whatever behind his ear. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool. I would never want any of that on me though. I'm not willing to commit to Pepsi. What if I start liking Coke more,
What about a fidget spinner tattoo?
You should check yourself into rehab.
Would you get a fidget spinner tattoo?
Oh yeah, seems like the coolest thing to do right now.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So unlike these guys, I have a tattoo that I love, and I am not ashamed of it. Now, what that is and where that is, I will leave that to your imagination.
You just said you're not ashamed of it. So if you're not ashamed of it, why are you?
But because it's so much more fun to leave that vague. Like
the problem is the imaginations are going to be getting
exactly
left or right.
It's so much more fun. We live on the equator. But as far as some of my favorite tattoos, you know what I said.
No.
But Brock Lesnar has always been a big favorite of mine. His first run of tattoos, it got weird. I'm not a fan of the sword, but I really like the back tattoo. Even the hooks are all right. CM Punk is up there for me. Randy Orton, I think, has some of the best sleeves I've ever seen. And and his back tattoo is great. And I'm trying to think of other people, like little ones. Like I love Shawn Michaels' tattoo. It's a little thing, but because like to me, Shawn Michaels' tattoo is one of the first images I think of when I think pro wrestling, and it resonates with me in that respect. So I like it from that angle. Undertaker's just by quantity. I think it has to be up there. He has so many. That dude got a neck tattoo and then got that neck tattoo blacked out. Like that is amazing.
Sarah.
Poor Sarah. Poor Undertaker. But yeah, tattoos are awesome. I can't recommend them enough. Though there's a stigma, the world is changing, and I don't think that'll be a much... Everybody that has that problem is going to die eventually, and I think we'll be better off.
But for now, if you want to have ease of getting a job, if you're going to get a tattoo, make sure if you wear a short sleeve shirt and shorts, you can't see the tattoo.
Not all tattoos have to be in places where... like on arms or legs or something like that.
Does your tattoo become larger?
What?
Nothing. Keep going.
Okay.
Next question.
So thank you for a question. Our final question of the show comes from the true Prince of
Here
Pro.
we go.
And this is more of a statement. So, backstory here. Recently on our social media, twitter.com/BiteThatCast, a topic got brought up to us, and that is a ranking of French fries, different types of French fries that are in the world. It's on this list here. There are 18 different styles of fries, and the True Prince of Pro says, I feel like there needs to be a group discussion during the podcast about this ranking of fries, and he also throws out there that smiley fries, which end up being at the bottom of this list, are definitely the worst, which is hard to argue.
I would argue
sense.
that they are definitely not the worst.
Oh yeah, there have been far worse.
Ryan, you have this list, yes?
Yes.
Do you want to take us through some of the some of the different types of fries that are ranked on this list?
So this is like from most to east. To least. To east.
Yeah.
What are you on, sir?
Yeah. Most to east.
Okay. All right, let me take over while Juan collects himself after that. Okay, so this is the ranking that Food Republic, I believe they're the one who initially posted this image. This is their tier list. This is not our list because we are going to debate our list. This is a debate that on the podcast right now. Okay.
We're doing a lot of those recently.
So they have at rank 1 being the best, waffle fries, followed by Belgian fries, then tater tots,
lies,
standard cut,
lies,
garlic fries,
save your thoughts,
curly fries, shoestring / matchstick fries, crinkle cut, cheese fries, steak, chips, sweet potato fries, potato wedges, chili cheese fries, cottage fries, pommes soufflés, I don't know.
No idea.
Potato tornado, and smiley. Now let me first comment that I'd like to say.
Okay.
Is that I don't appreciate the fact that they put in things like cheese fries and chili cheese fries, because you still have to use one of these types of fries and then you just put stuff on it. I don't think that's fair.
It's got ketchup to it.
But not only that, like, this list is completely null and void to me because they omitted the real true fry, and that is poutine, the Canadian delight.
But see, once again, isn't that just a type of fry and then you just add a bunch of shit on top of it? Like,
yes, but it makes it the best fry from that.
But I'm saying if we're taking purely the potato fry itself,
with nothing on it, just maybe some salt.
Exactly.
Well, then they're all dry garbage.
Seasoning can count, but let me put it this way. Smiley fries are not even close to the worst. In my opinion, steak fries and crinkle cut fries are garbage tier to me. They're just dry potato. Like, I know it's potato, but it's like too much dry potato-ness to them.
Yeah.
That, and like, at least potato wedges, I feel like just the outside of a potato wedge is just, it's more interesting to eat. I don't know, it tastes better.
But the middle part is kind of just like normal. Like when you say French fry, I think we need to set like a standard, right? Like when we're scheduling for like the best one, it's got to be crunchy, right? Like to me, a French fry that is not crunchy should not be.
Because standard cut fries, right? I look at standard cut fries similar to like McDonald's fries. That's what standard cut fries are. Now there's a lot of sub shops and stuff around my area that have crispy fries that I think are absolutely the best fry, where they're a little bit bigger than the standard cut like McDonald's, but they're smaller than a steak fry, and they've got that crispy outside to them. Those are absolutely delicious. These Belgian fries, I don't think they're that great. They're kind of similar. They remind me of like Five Guys, what you would get there for those types of fries. Oh, okay, but not like the crispy fries.
Yeah, like I would definitely say that, like, if we're going on quality, I would say a Belgian fry is probably better, but there's something appealing to just like the sodium overload that happens on like a standard fry that I think adds more flavor than like a Belgian fry. So I would personally put it a little higher. I like the if we're going by like a normal fry, I think that thinner is better. I don't like that big, like, if I want a mouthful of potato, I'll just go have a baked potato or something like that. But I like potato wedges, but that's mostly because of the seasoning that gets put on them.
Agreed. Like potato wedges at KFC are pretty awesome.
So you guys guys don't like waffle fries? Because like to me,
no, a waffle fries. I was gonna say waffle fries would be actually like top 3 on my list.
I disagree. Like, go eat a potato.
No, here's
waffle fries are fantastic.
Yeah, let me sell this. Like for those that haven't eaten waffle fries, they're simply the greatest thing of all time because they combine the great elements of each fry. Because it's like picture tic-tac-toe if that became a potato, right? And that became a fry or something.
So would that be tic-tac potato?
Sure, why not?
Oh my God.
But because there's all those little holes, like when you fry them, it gets extra crispy. You get more layers, right? Like you fry them,
and
for
there's
a
not
least
too
amount
much
of time.
potato at each, because you're not one bite in waffle fries usually.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like waffle fries are at least a 2-bite process if you're doing it right.
And if anything, like one thing that is criminal to me is that the real answer is a waffle fry, a sweet potato fry. Like those to me are the very best. Like a lot of places have sweet potato waffle fries, and those are freaking awesome. That's my number one.
Disagree.
All right, let's do a top 5 each because we're not going to do all 18.
All right.
So top 5. Keith, you want to start?
Sure, I'll go first, and I'm basing it mostly off this list. So number 5 for me would probably be the shoestring fry, just because I like that thinness. Number 4, probably a sweet potato fry, because while I'm not a fan, I do think that there's a place for them. Number 3, curly fries, because it's kind of fun. Like you can eat it almost. You can have some fun with it in your mouth. I'll leave that there. Number 2 is tater tots. I'm a big fan of the tot. I think they go amazing with hot sauce. Like especially if you want a match made in heaven, get some like Taco Bell Diablo sauce and put some of those on some tater tots. It'll make your damn day. I guarantee it. It's such a good combo. And number 1, even though it's not mentioned on this list, like I said at the beginning of my point, nothing beats a good old-fashioned, I'm probably gonna have a heart attack at the end of this, I need a fork or else I'm a mess, Canadian, beautiful, gravy-filled, cheese curd, take a bite and it feels like rubber, poutine. There is nothing better on this planet than a poutine when it comes to fries.
Okay,
I don't know.
All right. For me, coming in at number 5 has to be just sweet potato fries. I like them. I like the taste of them. They're pretty damn good. Can't complain when I have some sweet potato fries. Coming in at number 4 is standard cut. You know, your classic McDonald's type fries. Then I would probably put curly fries in at number 3. Number 2 would be waffle fries. And then number 1 would be, as I mentioned before, those crispy fries.
Okay, for me, number 5 would be curly fries because they're fun. Like I love it that you can just have like that middle part. Also, they reminded me of like onion rings, which are awesome. So that's number 5. Number 4, I'm gonna have to go with garlic fries. The thing is, like, nah, I'm gonna take that out on a technicality because like there's the whole like ketchup, not ketchup thing, right? So like number 4, I'm gonna go with standard cut. Like I'm not a huge fan of standard cut, but when they're just fresh, you never go wrong.
If you get
with them,
the right
right
batch, they're great.
Yeah, you can never go wrong with them. Number 3, I'm going to go with sweet potato fries. I freaking love them. I'm not a fan when they do like shoestring, like Applebee's has like these shoestring sweet potato fries. They're not bad, but the problem is like to me, they're way too salty because they're smaller. So like you feel like the salt is more real.
Yeah, you don't have the potato in between to kind of, counteract it.
Exactly, because you only get the crispiness. You don't get like the tenderness in the middle, like, unless you like overcook a fry. Number 2, I'm going to go with waffle fries just because they're the perfect combination of everything. And then number 1, as I mentioned earlier, sweet potato waffle fries. Those are incredible, and they go well with anything. Like you can use that with like ranch, with just ketchup by themselves. They're great. Like if you want to
buy
take
them
one
at the
step
grocery
further,
store sometimes. Cook them up.
They're so great. Like just put them inside a burger. Put them in the burger. Like take it one step further, man.
It's madness.
Treat yourself.
Or barbarian.
Yes. And Keith, you're wrong, buddy, but I love you. I love you.
That's fair.
And now, folks, before we conclude this episode, as we do have the Bite That Weekly Update, and there's a lot happening here. As we mentioned, this is episode 199, and we've cemented the changes that are going to be happening on Bite That. Some of them have already been reflected on our Patreon campaign, and next week, we will be talking about those. But for the ones that we can, I'll leave you with Mr. McNulty.
All right, so for the BT Weekly Update, of course, first we want to remind you, you can get a trial with Audible audiobooks if you head over to audibletrial.com/bite-that. You get 1 free audiobook and a free 30-day trial. It also helps support Bite That, so you can head over there and check that out if you want to listen to something different on the road. Tons of wrestling books on there, like one said he listened to AJ Lee's book. You got Hardcore Holly's book, Daniel Bryan's book. Tons of options. We're on the road to episode 200. Episode 200 is next week. Just a week away. It's going to be a jam-packed episode with announcements, just celebrating what it is we do. We're going to have some games going on. A lot of special things are going to happen.
Only small
for
changes,
episode
right?
200. So you definitely want to listen next week. Don't forget to listen next week. It's going to be awesome. We promise you.
Don't forget it.
Yeah, don't forget. And you know what we're announcing next week on episode 200? The winner of our giveaway. So if you still want to enter, you have a week left to enter. All you have to do is drop a review on either iTunes or Stitcher. Let us know you did. And you're in. You have a chance to win. One lucky winner is going to get a $25 Amazon gift card. So you still get a chance to enter. You got 1 week left. Just leave a review on either of those platforms. Let us know you did, and you are in. So lastly, of course, we want to mention our Patreon. Patreon.com/bite. That is the most direct way to support what it is we do. It helps us make it helps make Bite That a better place. And thanks to the contributions of our current patrons, we've been able to do a lot of amazing things. We have reconstructed it in a way recently, and we're going to have some more announcements on that next week. But one thing we do want to let you guys know is we just opened our Discord channel. So that's kind of just an ongoing chat room, good place to also play games. You know, if we want to go the voice channel to play games, against each other, with each other, whatever, and just an ongoing chat. Hey, chat with us. We're talking about gaming, whatever. If you are a patron, you donate at any point in time, pledge, you are automatically get lifetime access to our Discord channel.
Yeah.
We're also doing some private shows for $5 patrons. There's going to be new kind of exclusive shows for them. Yeah, private shows, baby. Who knows what can go down? So that'll be...
give us your tokens.
Yeah, give us tokens. It's going to be kind of a free-form thing, and those will be live private shows for patrons to enjoy. I made it sound so wrong, but
as they say in the street, heats out, meets out.
No, it will not. It will not. It will not be like that. Okay, it's gonna be just a more free-form discussion. We'll talk wrestling, talk whatever. If you want to ask just personal questions, but not too personal. Not too personal. This is going off the rails. So anyway, we changed up goals too. So you can just go over to patreon.com/bite that if you want to see the details. We're going to have more on that next week. And also, this Saturday is going to be our big live stream on YouTube Live. We're going to be playing SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, doing the GM mode. So that's 1 p.m. Eastern Time over on YouTube Live. So it's our youtube.com/BiteThatCast. The usual YouTube address. You can find us there. 1 p.m. we'll be streaming GM mode. It's going to be awesome. We're going to try and book the 2007 WWE roster to be a successful show. And we want you guys to help out in the chat, discuss what we can do for feuds and things like that. So I think it's going to be an awesome time and a great build up to episode 200. So tons going on. We're going to have even more happening next week. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you for the stream this Saturday in episode 200.